This is Tom Bernacki, and today I'm going over foods that if people stopped eating, 90% of diabetes worldwide would be solved. And we're starting right now. This is a huge list. We're going over the myths and the misconceptions, the false fake studies that people have been fed. This is where literature is heading. I'm not saying it's perfect, and I'd love to hear your opinions. We're reading tons of books, tons of resources, and leading authorities. This is the best list I've been able to come up for me and my patients. Tell me what you think. You want to read your food labels because fat-free foods are usually high on the glycemic index. So these are generally 70 to 100. That means it's gonna spike your blood sugar, it's gonna cause inflammation in your body, damage your arteries, damage your nerves, and is full of processed garbage sugars. Under 70 on the glycemic index is what we want. And that's food number one, fat-free packaged snacks. These are usually filled with sugar instead of fat. What's even worse is the unnaturally and toxic zero fat. It's usually full of salt and sugar. Reduced fat salad dressings. Same kind of thing. Instead of fat, they're a cardiac crime because they're a hidden source of sugar and salt that make your salad unhealthy. Number three, fat-free peanut butters and condiments. You're trading that healthy fat for unhealthy and inflammatory sugar. Your ingredients should read peanuts and salt. Artificial sweeteners. These, even though they're not full of calories, they can cause cravings. There are some more natural options, and studies now show fat is not as bad as previously reported. There was some input and studies paid for by some of these food manufacturers at play. For your condiments, these are ones that are high on the glycemic index, which spike your blood sugar. These are maple syrup, honey, agave nectar, ketchup, barbecue sauce. Margarine was one on the really unhealthy list. It's hard to say definitively now because trans fats were banned. Check the label. I still wouldn't eat for it. I don't know if margarine's quite as unhealthy as it once was, although butter's probably a better option. Here's what good condiments are: mustard, salsa, hummus, guacamole, Greek yogurt, apple cider vinegar, grass-fed butter, balsamic vinegar, hot sauce, sesame oil. These can be decent options. Fruits. This is a big myth, and I want to hear your thoughts here, but there is a sugar myth with fruits. Fruit is generally not very high on the glycemic index. Even though it is filled with some sugar, it's generally a lot lower than any type of candy or muffin or processed sugar. A 2017 study shows that eating fruit in moderation can help prevent diabetes rather than exacerbating your diabetes. The sugars in fresh fruit are not free sugars. They do not spike your blood sugar and do not spike your insulin like chocolate, baked goods, sodas, and free sugars would. The glycemic index, 70 to 100 I mentioned was bad. Watermelon, ripe bananas, dried fruits, fruit juices, that will spike your blood sugars. The fiber in fruit can actually lower the absorption of the sugar into your bloodstream. And studies show that fruit in moderation is actually good for diabetes. I don't know if that's a perfect answer. Hear your opinion. Maybe there's some studies that I'm missing. I'd love to hear it. Processed snacks, you have your pastries. These are high in fat, sugar, and white flour. These boost your sugars. Store-bought energy bars, candy bars, these are all full of sugars. For example, a single Three Musketeers bar has 3 tablespoons of sugar. That's almost 40 grams of pure sugar, which is huge. This sugar is tied to atherosclerosis and heart disease. Over 50% of people over the age of 45 have atherosclerosis. Sugar is the #1 cause. For snacks, I love to eat nuts, avocado, and I have a great video on my favorite filling secret drink with secret ingredients that I drink every morning to fill myself up. So check that video out. Breakfast foods, fruit and sugar flavored yogurt. It's not a great option. 14 grams is a full tablespoon loaded of sugar. So count that on your food label. Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt is excellent for you. Sugary fruit yogurts are horrible for you. I've seen some with 6 spoons of sugar. What about cereal with sugar? This is the majority of cereals that are advertised on TV for you. 8 tablespoons of sugar in some of these large bowls. This is huge. They blame dietary fat, but it's really all these tablespoons of sugar that are high on the glycemic index that spike your sugar, they make you lazy, and they clog up your arteries. Granola with added sugar, same kind of thing. Ton of sugar in there. Even though they have some nutrients and some fiber, it really comes down to the sugar destroying those benefits. Take a look at the glycemic index in these cereals. These are marketed as healthy, but these are like instant blood sugar rushes into your veins and your arteries. So be careful eating these marketed healthy cereals. Anything over a glycemic index of 50, I would still consider fairly unhealthy for you, especially as a diabetic. Take a look at these. These are the majority of what's considered healthy cereals. They're still not great for you. On the other hand, good cereals are basically the non-instant oatmeal brand type cereals. This is what's good for you. It's not any of the commercial marketed cereals that people are usually eating. Milk and milk alternatives. Milk is great when you're getting it from your mom and you're getting it directly from the cow, but that's not what's happening today. Skim milks are possible, zero fat milk. Skim milk it's not filling. It does have a little bit of protein, but not enough to offset the sugar, most likely. Adding that to sugary cereals, that's a horrible breakfast. Skip that. That's not good for you. I don't think that's even debatable at this point. Nutella spreads, same kind of thing. Ton of sugar in there. These breakfast blends and spreads, putting jams, Nutella, these high sugar peanut butters on there, they're not good for you. Instead, here's great breakfast foods: eggs, avocado, black coffee. So same thing, you want to drink your coffee black because if you add those syrups in there, ton of sugar in there. Animal fat. These are actually a myth. Some studies show if you eat too much saturated animal fats, yes, they are unhealthy, but eaten in moderation as part of a balanced diet, for example, like eating a steak or something, can fill you up. It's got a lot of protein and it's generally pretty healthy for you. The carnivore diet, on the other hand, if you're eating just meat all day, it's hard to say what would happen after like a year of doing that. It could cause some issues, probably not natural how we evolve, in my opinion. Research published in the Journal of the American Medical Association found that the sugar industry funded many of these animal fat studies. And what a surprise, they found that sugar was good and fat was bad. There's an article into the 2019 Annals of Internal Medicine, which was titled, "It's Okay to Eat Red Meat." What they did, they looked at numerous systemic studies looking at all these meat studies, and red meat, when eaten in moderation, and moderation is the key, was actually not bad regarding heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and premature death. There's a lot of debate regarding meats, especially from the vegetarian side or vegan side. Too much red meat is still bad for you. A lot of these studies were influenced by the sugar industry. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Fried food and meat, yes, that's unhealthy for you because seed oils and vegetable oils can be unhealthy because they raise the inflammation in your body. And fried foods, a little bit of healthy meat in the middle and a lot of unhealthy fried material on the outside. Fried foods had a higher risk of death from coronary artery disease, according to the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. Here's another one too, butter. That's an animal fat. It's not that bad. A 2016 study found that there's very little link between butter consumption and heart disease. And there's a lot of great videos, like Dr. Stan Etberg. He eats like 100 portions in a week and does his blood tests before and after. Not a lot of bad results. Instead, margarine was pushed in the past, but now margarine recently is a villain because of all the additives and saturated fat and trans fat in there. Now it's thought that butter is better than margarine. Although with margarine now they got rid of trans fats, so it's hard to say. This was 2 years ago where trans fats were banned. So it's hard to say. Maybe by the time you watch this, there's newer studies coming out. Part of meats as well, nitrates got a bad rap. They were used as a food additives to stop the growth of bacteria. The difference is, now looking at studies, nitrates were added to low quality meats. Who eats low quality meats? People who live in poorer areas, they're more likely to smoke, more likely to drink alcohol, less likely to have access to good health care. Usually these lower quality meats and foods have shown that these people have more problems. That's kind of been disproven with nitrates. And not only that, we make nitrates in our saliva. So in our cheeks right now, we keep making nitrates. So if that were true, we'd keep poisoning ourselves with our saliva. We're getting smaller amounts of nitrate for our food than our saliva. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Maybe I'm misreading these studies. calories and I'm getting it from the wrong sources. And that brings us to processed meats. Just like processed sugary foods, processed meats are now loaded with sugar. They're ground up. They're the bottom of the barrel. These are sausages, hot dogs, salami, cheap quality ham, cheap quality bacon, salted and cured meat, corned beef, smoked meat, dried meat, jerkies, canned meat, all this kind of stuff. Instead of eating those, get some high quality lean meats, like a good quality chicken breast, good quality steak, good quality beef, good quality turkey. All this stuff is good for you, but the processed pre-packaged stuff, probably not as good for you. Trans fats. Trans fats used to probably be the worst thing. They're literal poison because they're partially hydrogenated fat. They were used to preserve things in bakeries, microwave popcorn, like microwavable pizza, that kind of stuff, and your body cannot digest them, so they get stuck in your body causing damage. These are also in liquid vegetable oils, but in 2020, they've been banned. Because they've been banned, this has led to them being removed from food. So it's hard to say, this is all very recent, but trans fat, potentially we don't have to worry about anymore. Does that mean those foods are safe? Probably not, because they're still loaded with sugars and a lot of other stuff. There's good oils and bad oils, but it's never black and white. But the idea is, most of the bad oils are pretty high in omega-6 fatty acids. So most people have heard of omega-3 fatty acids, but not so much omega-6 fatty acids. Omega-6 fatty acids contribute to inflammation. And inflammation is good, but it should be omega-3 and omega-6 in about a 1-to-1 ratio. The average American diet is about 25 omega-6 to 1 omega-3. So we're not getting enough omega-3s. That means it's getting too high in inflammation and too low in anti-inflammation. This is a list of good fats. This is by Dr. Kate Shanahan. So her website's Dr. Kate, but she does a pretty good breakdown. This is a board certified physician who analyzed this. You got some good ones right here. You got your bad ones. I looked at like 10 to 20 different charts. All are by physicians or specialists or people certified to talk about this kind of stuff. The lists kind of flip-flop back and forth for different reasons. There's good fats, there's bad fats, stuff burns in heat. There's a lot of different reasons why you should and should not eat these oils. The best bet, in my opinion, is to avoid them altogether. They did a study in rats, and if rats were over 20-to-1 in omega-6 to omega-3, then those rats had increased inflammation markers like C-reactive protein, and they had much higher rates of cancer. These oils are not black and white because you have trans fats versus omega-6 fats. You have saturated fats versus unsaturated fats. You have fats that basically create toxic compounds when they're on the frying pan. So there's a lot of levels because some people love certain oils even though they hate other oils. Trans fat foods you still want to avoid. These are commercial baked goods such as cake, cookies, pies, vegetable shortening, microwave popcorn and pizza, frozen pizzas, refrigerated doughs such as biscuits and rolls, fried foods such as French fries, donuts, and fried chicken have this. Non-dairy creamer. This is like the fat-free creamers especially. Margarine had trans fats. All these foods in general are processed. They're not natural. In my opinion, I still try and avoid them. Next is nutrition and fiber-poor foods. I'm gonna include this one, salt. Salt is an important part of the diet. This is not something you wanna avoid all the way, but if you have heart issues, kidney disease, and blood pressure, you want to limit it, but salt being bad for you is a myth. Salt in outrageous quantities is bad for you, and it's bad for your blood pressure, but salt in reasonable amounts is pretty good. So that brings us to foods like potato chips. New England Journal of Medicine called potato chips the single worst food in America because you can eat a ton of it, it gives you no nutrition, no fiber, and it puts on a ton of calories without necessarily feeling full. If you get one thing from this video, cut out fried potato products. That's including your chips. Worst and most toxic food in America, according to the #1 journal, New England Journal of Medicine. And this includes potato chip-like snacks, Cheetos, veggie straws, Doritos, healthy chips, fat-free chips. Check the back for fiber, nutrients, proteins. This includes queso dips and cream-based dips. Instead, here's the snacks I like. Nuts in moderation. I love my filling drinks below. I also love low-calorie soup broths. I heat them up in a large mug, add some spices to them. That bloats you, gets you full. That plus nuts, you can kill any craving. I've done multiple day fasts that way and I felt great all the way through. So there's no reason you can't curb your craving as well. White rice and white bread. Processed rice and bread ranks well up there in the highly processed carb category. This can increase your belly fat. It's high on the glycemic interest. Eat some nuts instead. Now we're getting to the more serious stuff. Sugary drinks, flavored milk. I already mentioned skim milk is tough. It's not very good for you. Fruit smoothies. I see a lot of great fruit smoothie places. And listen, fruit smoothies are great in nutrients, but they're high on the glycemic index. You don't get full and they don't have fiber. What we talked about fruits being good for you in the past, that's not true with the fruit juices because that's a high glycemic, high insulin spiking food in most cases. But let me clarify, these are the types of low quality juices with a high glycemic index that I'm talking about. If you actually take good fruit in a blender and mix it up like this, studies do show that 100% real fruit blended does not correlate with bad diabetes. So just like eating good fruit, eating 100% fruit smoothies that are blended is actually good for you. So apologies to fruit. Fancy coffee drinks. This is a guilty pleasure of mine, going to Starbucks, but sometimes look at the numbers, 1,000 calories. Like we're talking 4 to 8 tablespoons of sugar in some of these frappuccinos. Like, I mean, these are some of the most delicious things I've ever had, but they're some of the worst things for you. Like it's better to eat like ice cream or pure fat in some cases. Sports drinks, 95% of diabetics 99, I would say, don't need electrolytes, stick to water. There's like 6 tablespoons of sugar in some of these huge cups. This could destroy your diet for a day just drinking one of these. And that brings me to energy drinks. Same kind of thing. Caffeine is not horrible for you, but just drink a black coffee instead. Skip the sugar and skip the additives. Soda. The Journal of American College of Cardiology meta-analysis looking back found that all sweetened drinks, including soda, fruit juices, fake fruit juices, sports drinks, energy drinks, make you significantly more likely to die of atherosclerosis. High risk of diabetes, heart disease, these are poisonous, along with like potato chips and stuff. Simply cutting these basic things out can change your life immediately. Diet soda. I'm a huge fan of carbonated water. I love my soda stream. Carbonation is not bad for you. Carbonation has been shown not to hurt your bones, not to hurt your teeth, has been shown to be relatively healthy for you. With diet soda, it's not the carbonation, it's really the sweeteners. And sweeteners are significantly healthier than drinking sugary soda. The danger is it still creates that craving, so you want to keep eating. Personally, to my carbonated water, I add some apple cider vinegar, I add some vitamin C, a couple drops of concentrated lemon juice. This makes you full. I'd prefer to make that soda at my own house rather than having these sweeteners. Black coffee, healthy. There's a lot of great studies where coffee is not necessarily bad for your heart or your high blood pressure once you get used to it. Just don't drink extreme amounts. And by extreme amounts, you can still drink a few cups. That's nothing wrong with that in 95+% of people. I can't say everybody. And studies show for young people, 400 milligrams of caffeine appears to be very safe. Alcohol. Enjoying the occasional alcoholic beverage is great. So especially for men, like 2 to 3 drinks is fine. For women, 1 to 2 drinks is completely fine. But if you live with chronic illnesses such as diabetes, peripheral neuropathy, poor blood flow, take certain medications such as antihistamines, painkillers, blood pressure medications, alcohol should be completely avoided. Trick is this should be a motivator for you to get healthy. If you can drop your diabetes fairly quickly and you're healthy, you can go back to drinking alcohol then. So I'm not bashing alcohol, but if you're in horrible shape, it's not something that's helping you. Smoking. You already know, you've been told enough. Quit smoking if you're doing it already. Getting into the worst absolute stuff is added sugar and high fructose corn syrup foods. I hate what's going on in society. Companies with a lot of money get away with crap. And crap is paying for studies. So foods that are otherwise healthy, they have been suppressed, and the negative side effects of all these sugary foods, for some reason, they're still allowed. Like these poisonous foods should be banned, just like trans fat was banned. But it's not. Why? Because a lot of people are making money on it. That's why. And added sugars, high fructose corn syrup is the #1 cause of people being overweight in America. And now around the world, like even China, like the eastern part of the world is skyrocketing. Europe's skyrocketing in weight gain as well. Heart disease, diabetes, fatty liver, dyslipidemia, arterial sclerosis, trillions and trillions of dollars in healthcare disease so that companies can make billions instead. And life is shortened, untold damage to society because of this. This includes soda, juice drinks, sauces, fat-free condiments, ice cream, ice pops, candy, packaged sweets, breakfast foods, fruit preservatives, jams, applesauce, fruit sauces, pancake syrup and dessert syrup, bread, crackers, white rice, fast food. So that's an overwhelming list, but here's the trick. 6 easy ways to limit your high fructose corn syrup intake. Don't give up. Choose fresh produce most of the time, such as fresh fruit and fresh veggies. If it's not natural, limit it. Find foods like nuts or water with lemon that you can drink to fill your stomach. I personally love soup broth as well. It's low in calories and very filling. Avoid sodas and processed fruit juices. Instead, go for that water, tea, or that broth. Whole milk, organic milks are really good. Choose whole grain breakfast cereals, not the sugar-loaded versions, and snack on whole foods such as nuts, high volume, low glycemic index fruits, and raw veggies. Make stuff at home. Skip the prepackaged store-bought cakes, donuts, and cookies.
And this is the big secret that they never promote because no one makes money. You're the only one who benefits. This is such a big revolution. I've had tons of patients save money, be able to do it immediately. There's no products to buy. And every major religion supports this. So what could be wrong with this? Why isn't everyone doing it? Because most corporations don't make money. This is intermittent fasting. This is a guy who did not eat for 382 days and he was completely fine. He lost 276 pounds. That's 125 kilograms for my international friends. This is completely safe. He was monitored by doctors the entire time, every week, with absolutely no issues. And then he lived over 30 years with no health problems afterwards. It's okay to just stop eating. You're not going to fall apart in 99% of cases. Legal disclaimer, always get checked out by your doctor, but these studies overwhelmingly show that it's safe for almost every single type 2 diabetic to just stop eating. Monitor your blood sugars, make sure they don't drop, but for controlled fasting, you will see better insulin resistance. You will see what's called a metabolic shift and start getting healthier fairly quickly. Due to the length of this video, I'm not going to go into the details, but click below for the videos we have at the bottom, and we will show you what people are doing to get rid of their diabetes.